Yes, it's me again. Welcome back. Hello, Boss fans, unite, okay? Because we have been going through it, especially the Blitzo fans. The Blitzo fans have especially been going through it these last 2 months because Apology Tour and Full Moon have been dragging this poor man through the mud. And I'm not saying he don't deserve it, because he does. But I'm also saying he's not the only one who deserves the smoke. Okay, I'm sick and tired of hearing people saying Solus is the innocent one in this situation. No, he ain't. And I've been hearing a lot of people, and don't get me wrong, I have been hearing my fair share of people on the internet calling this out. But they're mostly getting mad at Vivzy, though, being like, hey, Vivzy is playing favoritism and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, no, she's laying down the seeds. She's laying down the groundwork for what's going to become. Like, Stolas is going to get his. And that's what we're going to talk about. Stolas' reckoning, okay? Because he's going to get his. He's not the only one who's... Blitz is not the only one who's going to get called out. The reason why Blitz is more heavily focused is because he's the main character. But Stolas is not innocent in this scenario. And a lot of people acknowledge that Stolas isn't innocent. Not a lot of people, like a good chunk, a good sum acknowledge that Stolas is not innocent and is kind of frustrated about how the fandom is just like, Blitz is a terrible person and Stolas needs to get away from him. And I think they're both very damaged people who need to work on themselves. And that's what's kind of happening in the last couple episodes of season 2, is that they're going through the process of working on themselves and being better. Because here's the thing, we're coming from the perspective of an audience, not as actual characters in the show. Like, you have to see the characters as people themselves, and that have their own lives and their own agendas, their own goals, and everything like that. So I think there's a lot of disconnect when it comes to how people are just like, how things are being framed right now, because the show is based off of Blitz's perspective. Like, 90% of the time, it's mostly about Blitz. 90% of the time, it's from his perspective. I think there's only maybe 3 or 4 episodes in the series, and the entire series as a whole, where Blitz isn't the A plot of the episode. Like, he's the B plot. But normally, he's the main character. He's the journey that we go through. He's the one that we're rooting for, you know? So, everybody's just like, Blitz is they're only talking about Blitz. They're only talking about his faults and what he did wrong. No, they're not. The writers are not letting Stolas get away with this scot-free. If you look back in Apology Tour, you can see that Blitz, even though he's going about it the wrong way, like the way he's explaining it is really bad because he's coming from a place of anger and passive aggressiveness and just a lot of malice in his voice and a lot of hurt. So Stolas can't necessarily hear the points he's throwing out and getting very defensive. But Blitz made some valid points, being like, hey, you demeaned me all the time. You basically confirmed that to you, we are just friends with benefits. And now all of a sudden, you wanted a relationship the entire time, and then you also broke up with me at the same time, after I thought that I was about to lose my entire livelihood because you were taking back the book. It's just Full Moon was a lot for Blitz, and a lot of people don't even realize that. We all knew what Stolas was planning. Blitz did not. He thought it was just another booty call after the fact that he has not experienced, that they have not done it in a long time, and he thought that, oh, Stolas is changing his mind, he's going to take the book back, and then I'm going to lose my livelihood. When in reality, Stolas is saying, oh, I'm trying to give you your freedom so you can be with me because you want to be with me. But here's the thing. Stolas didn't really necessarily communicate what was going to happen in this meeting. He kind of just dropped the bomb on Blitz, and Blitz doesn't do very well with change, especially when it's change that people push on him and not change that he's enacting himself. I mean, he's not really good at change regardless, but it's worse when people put change onto him instead of him trying to make the change himself. And everybody's just doesn't even realize that Blitz went from being trying to salvage this arrangement, because he does care about Stolas in his own way. He just doesn't know how to show it. And that's on Blitz. He needs to go to therapy. And he needs to learn how to show his emotions in a healthy way. But, in defense of Blitz, what Stolas did to him was messed up. He completely dropped a bomb on him, made him believe that he was going to lose his livelihood, like I stated before, then basically told him, oh, actually you're not. I'm giving you this crystal so you can travel without me. You don't have to see me anymore if you don't want to, but I really want to be in a relationship with you. And he's just like, wait, is this a joke? Like, what's happening here? Like, it's just like he just did a bunch of things all at once. And it could be just the fact that Stolas did not take his happy pills that morning, and he's a little all over the place, but also at the same time, Blitz can't read Stolas' mind. Blitz can only know what Stolas is telling him, and he told him a lot all at once, and he wasn't able to process everything. And throughout the ending fight, he was trying to process and work through everything in real time. But it kept hurting Stolas because it felt like a rejection. Because it did. The way he was acting did feel like he was rejecting him. But at the same time, I don't think Stolas has ever seen how Blitz handles change. Because he normally flips out. Like, us as the audience, we see him flip out all the time. But Stolas hasn't. Which is another thing that people didn't understand. It's just like, why, like, for Stolas, it's just like, why didn't he give Blitz more grace? It's because Stolas isn't used to that side of Blitz. He's never really seen that side. He's mostly seen just more or less tolerance and impossible connection when they're private and alone. But I can see why people are just like, oh yeah, Blitz overreacted or Stolas overreacted and blah, blah, blah. But it really comes down to the fact that this couple has a terrible communication style. They do not communicate their feelings at all. So in Apology Tour, when Blitz is trying to come across his points about how he felt demeaned and demoralized and how Stolas doesn't really seem to respect him or value or feel like he doesn't value him or only sees him as like a fulfillment of his fantasies, Stolas is like, when have I ever been like that? Because Stolas doesn't realize that what he was doing was harming Blitz. Stolas doesn't understand that he has a higher position than Blitz, that he has the power in this situation. He had the power to take away Blitz's livelihood. He had the power to basically destroy Blitz's life if he wanted to. But he didn't realize that he had that much power over Blitz. He saw Blitz as an equal, or at least he tried to, because it has been shown in some episodes that he values Blitz as a person, but he doesn't see a lot of other imps as a person. If you look at his poor imp butler, that man has gone through it. Like, he has gone through it, and Stolas doesn't really treat him like a person. So, and Moxie and Millie, he kind of just tolerates their existence, but he doesn't really like acknowledge them all that much. Like, he'll work with them and he'll help them to satisfy Blitz, but he's not like, I don't think he sees them as people, and that's something because he was raised not to see imps as people. So he's breaking through prejudices and stigmas that were put on him since a child. That being said, he doesn't realize the harm that he caused Blitz and made him feel like, oh, in this relationship, it's just transactional. There is no feelings there. So anytime Stolas tried to show that, he didn't communicate that, hey, I see you more as than just an imp. I don't see you as an imp. I see you as an equal. Like, I mean, you are an imp, but I see you as an equal. You know what I mean? But Stolas never gave him that verbal confirmation, which is something Blitz really needs to hear. Like, I don't know what if you look at, like, there's like 5 love languages, right? And I'm looking at it, and I think Stolas's love language is like acts of service, like how he shows his love is like acts of service, while Blitz needs words of affirmation. It seems like he needs validation in in people's feelings for him. Like, that's how he grew closer with Moxie. He gives words of affirmation to Luna. Like, it's just like that's how he shows love, is through words of affirmation. Or at least tries to. It's just like, at least that's how he shows respect, if not anything else. Because he used to belittle and make fun of Moxie all the time. And then after they had their episode when they got kidnapped by the dorks, now he kind of, he has a mild respect for Moxie. And he doesn't really, like, make fun of him like that anymore. Like, he still does sometimes, but he tries not to push it too far anymore. Like, Blitz used to push it really far, but now it's kind of more just less like, two brothers riffing on each other and taking the piss. Like, it's just like it's not coming from like a place of, oh, I don't respect you. It's more or less just like, oh, it's funny. And they both are in on the joke. So, and the thing is that if they just communicated, like if Stolas and Blitz just communicated how they feel and what they need from the relationship, they would be exponentially better. And I think that is why Vivzie put so much focus on the last 2 episodes before the mid-season finale, focusing on Osmodeus and Fizzaroli's relationship and how they're basically the juxtaposition to Blitz and Stolas. Fizzaroli and Ozzy are basically Fizz and... Sorry about that. That was my mom. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember now. Fizz and Ozzy is the juxtaposition to Blitz and Stolas. Okay, they're basically just like if Stolas and Blitz had a healthy communication style. That's basically it. And it's kind of funny because in the mid-season finale, Blitz basically calls him out and says, yeah, y'all are hypocrites because y'all made fun of me and Stolas and ridiculed us for doing the same thing y'all doing. Okay, so... Anyway, the whole point of showing and highlighting their relationship is not only to show that Blitz is trying to make up for his past and trying to be better, but also that this type of dynamic can work where someone has way more power than the other person, but considers them as an equal and lets them know that they consider them as an equal. Like, everything Ozzy does for Fizz is from a place of, hey, I know you can hold your own, but there's just some things that you need to protect yourself because there's creeps out there and there's weirdos and you're famous and you can get kidnapped. And that happened. That's why Ozzy in the mid-season finale hires Blitz, or Fizz hires Blitz to be his bodyguard, because it's just like, yo, you just got kidnapped. I'm not letting you out of my sight. Like, it's just like, like, it's kind of, it comes from a place of, oh, I don't think you can take care of yourself. It comes from a place of, oh, I want you to stay safe and I want to keep you safe. And he does establish to Fizz a lot. Like, he does communicate to Fizz a lot that, hey, it's dangerous out there. I want you to stay safe. And he leaves the space open for Fizz to be vulnerable and open with him, and vice versa. I'm pretty sure Fizz leaves space open for Osmodeus to be vulnerable and need a shoulder to lean on. It's just that, we just haven't seen that yet, because Fizz is Blitz's friend, and so they're going to be focusing on that relationship more than Fizz and Osmodeus. I know a lot of people want like a Fizz and Osmodeus episode where it's just focused on just them and not intercutting between Blitz and the IMP and antics. But I don't know, maybe they'll come one day. Fizz, cross your fingers and pray, knock on wood, pray that Vivzie will bless us with that. That being said, I think that's why they put such emphasis on that specific relationship, because they are the juxtaposition of each other. Okay. I'm done talking and rant and rave about why Blitz acted the way he did and why Stolas might not understand where Blitz is coming from. But this video is about the perceived favoritism of Stolas in the whole breakup. Vizzy ain't playing favorites. It's just that Blitz is the main character. Like I reiterated earlier, Blitz is the main character. We are focusing on his story. We are being taken through his story. It's just Stolas is a part of said story. So Stolas doesn't get as much focus as Blitz does when it comes to his character flaws and what he needs to fix and what he needs to work on. Trust me, that's coming. They have been planting the seeds, mostly with his interactions with Octavia. And if you paid attention to the trailer for the second part of the season 2, Octavia calls Stolas out at some point in the show, like in the next months or so. I don't know when the episode is going to happen, but I'm figuring it is when they're going to do Stella and Stolas' divorce, and that's when all that soundbite, and that's where that soundbite comes in. It's like when they're going through the divorce process and all that stuff. Because even though Stolas really does care about Octavia, and Stella seems like she doesn't really care about Octavia, Octavia's staying with Stella. Like, it's more or less like Stolas gets her on the weekends, and Stella gets her through the week. So, like, that seems like what their custody arrangement is right now, from what I've seen. You don't really get to see much, but that's what I think is going on. And so Octavia can start being poisoned against Stolas by Andrelphus and Stella, like basically putting into her mind that he only cares about Blitz, he doesn't care about you anymore. You don't like. It's gonna be a very difficult episode for Stolas. He is going to get called out, and he is going to have to reflect on his treatment of others after he met Blitz, including how he treated Blitz and why their relationship fell apart. Like right now, he's still in the midst of heartbreak, so he doesn't really realize that what he did wrong, because a lot of people who feel like they are the ones a lot of people who are the victims of the breakup, and I say that, and I'm not saying that to be passive aggressive, because there are sometimes when you break up with someone, there's a clear right and a clear wrong. Like there's like that person really did cause the relationship to fall apart. But there are a lot of breakups out there that are a little bit more nuanced, where it's just like, oh, it's not all his fault and it's not all her fault, or you know what I'm saying. It's not all this person's fault or it's not all that person's fault. It's a combination of a bunch of things that both of them did. And that's what's happening with Blitz and Stolas. They both messed up. They both screwed up in the relationship. Blitz by not communicating and not being there for Stolas, and blowing up instead of trying to handle the situation with more tact and care. And Stolas by springing a bunch of crap on him that he was not prepared for, and not communicating that, hey, this is not me trying to push you out of my life. This is me just trying to figure out what I mean to you. Like, if they, like, seriously, if he just took time and just communicate, like, hey, I want to renegotiate the parameters of our agreement and all that stuff, at least Blitz would have came in not blindsided. At least he would be prepared with the idea that something is about to change. But Stolas didn't do that. And that was a big mess up on his part. And even though we got to see that Stolas was trying to make their relationship valid and make steps to make Blitz feel like an equal in their relationship, Blitz doesn't know that. Okay, as an audience, we get the luxury of seeing what goes on in Stolas' life. But Blitz doesn't know unless Stolas tells him. Blitz doesn't know that Stolas went to meet Asmodeus about the crystal. Blitz doesn't know that Stolas wants to have a real relationship with him and is trying to give him his freedom, like from the book, so they can have a relationship together without feeling transactional. He doesn't know any of that. He still thinks that Stolas values him as just someone to benefit him until he's no longer satisfying. That's why he's flipping out in the beginning of Full Moon, going and trying to make that night perfect for Stolas, because he wants to be of value to Stolas, because that's how he feels that's the only way he feels like he matters to Stolas, is by providing him something. And that's not true. It's just that their communication is so bad that he doesn't know how Stolas feels, and Stolas doesn't really know how Blitz feels. But Stolas is about to get called out. He's gonna get called out. It's gonna be the divorce episode. That's why I'm calling it. I don't know which episode it's gonna be. I'm having a feeling it's gonna be Sinmas, because Andrelphus' powers mostly focus on ice, and I feel like that would be a good season finale, is like the whole divorce proceedings and Blitz coming to save Stolas from Andrelphus after the trial is over, and I guess Andrelphus is just like, okay, great, we got what we want, so let's kill him, or end him. Man, I'm not making no money from this video. I'll go back and bleep it when I start making money off this channel. Yeah, I don't have to censor myself right now because I'm not making no money off this channel. Also, I'm really far into the video, so I know that they said that they have like rules and stuff that as long as it's like really far into the video, it might not matter. Back on topic. I need to get back on topic. Sinmas is going to be I think Sinmas is going to be it, where, because it just feels right, it feels like it's like the end of the season, the end of season 2. It feels like a good season ender. And also, I do feel like the season's going to end with them getting back together, because I feel like this is the end of the Blitz and Stolas will they won't they saga, because will they won't they's are only really good for like 1 or 2 seasons. And then after that, people are just bored and hate it and feel like they're being negged. So, and I think Vivzy understands that, because she said in interviews that, hey, this is going to be the end of this plot line. Like, this season is going to be the end of this plot line. And I highly doubt the end means, oh, they're not going to be together and they're just going to go their separate ways. I highly doubt that, because Stolas is a fan favorite. Stolas is one of Vivzy's favorite characters. She loves him with Blitz, to the point where she went from making Stolas a bad guy to a love interest. So I highly doubt that Stolas is just going to go away. I believe they're in game, and there hasn't been anything so far that hasn't shown me that they're not. Even though they're broken up, there's still a lot of signs showing that they are going to get back together. And I think they will get back together by the end of the season. Like, Blitz still needs to go on his journey, which he has been going on throughout the series. Not the series, but throughout season 2. After Western Energy and Blitz learned that Stolas can get hurt, that's what made him want to become a better person and realize that, hey, I need to make things right with the people I care about. And that's why he reached out to Barbie Wire. Even though she didn't want to talk to him, she's not ready to talk to him, he still went to her from a place of concern and love. And he held space for her to be angry and understood that she's angry and it probably will be a long, long time before she can forgive him. And he accepts that. He acknowledges that. Same thing with Fizz. I know they're a little bit more antagonistic with each other, because he's mad at Blitz is mad at Fizz is mad at Blitz. But when Blitz really realizes that Fizz doesn't know what really happened at the carnival, Blitz breaks it down, and he is genuinely remorseful. He never wanted to hurt anyone, and Blitz went through a lot that night. It's just he unintentionally caused a fire that destroyed his family and his family's livelihood and maimed his friend. And he tried to get help for his friend, but his dad interfered. From the trailer, you see his dad stops him from talking to Fizz. So you know that it was his dad that stopped him from communicating. And, it's just, once they realized that, hey, this was a huge misunderstanding and that we both genuinely care about each other, they were able to reconcile and become friends again. And that's so sweet. And it's just, Blitz is trying to be better. It's just that Stolas can't see it. and vice versa. Like, Stolas is trying to be better for Blitz, but Blitz doesn't see it because they don't communicate. But I think the trial is really going to put everything into perspective for Stolas and make him realize that, hey, I was no saint in this whole situation. Like, he already acknowledged the fact that the book thing was probably going to hold them back from actually being in a real relationship, because it feels like it's always going to be something looming over Blitz's head. But he doesn't realize that he still has prejudices and biases towards imps that he needs to work on, and that he can have a very skewed sense of reality and not understand what it's actually like for the majority of people in the world, because he comes from such a place of privilege. And like, Blitz tries to reiterate multiple times that what you want out of a relationship is a fairy tale. That's not what happens in real relationships. Even though some of it does happen. Like, it's just like, again, Ozzy and Fizz are the best way to show that you can have a little fairy tale romance while also be rooted in reality. Like, they do have issues, they do have struggles, but they also try to work through them, and they're there for each other and try to nurture each other's love. Like, that's why we see so much of their relationship in the last 2 episodes before Full Moon, because that way they can show that, hey, a power imbalance you can still have a good relationship, even if it's just even though there's a huge power balance in between you two. And Stolas is gonna realize, like, by the time the season ends, Blitz is gonna come to be in a better place where he's not gonna be completely healed or completely changed. He's still gonna have his issues, he's still gonna have his tendencies, but he's going to be working to be better. And I think that'll be enough for Stolas, and also for Stolas to do reflection and realize that, hey, I wasn't innocent in this situation at all. I should have handled this differently, and I shouldn't have done that to you. Will be a big step for Blitz to help him forgive Stolas. Because let's be honest, even though Blitz wants to apologize to Stolas and stuff like that, Blitz also deserves an apology for Stolas too. Like, because what Stolas did kind of messed him up. Like, it's just like, because again, he didn't know him well enough to understand that you can't spring stuff like that on him. And that's on both of them for not communicating. And it's just like, and I want to point out one last thing, because Stolas did say this during their argument in Apology Tour, where he's just like, oh, you and your buddy Stryker. Like, he's just like, I know he was hurt, and he was just saying that to hurt Blitz. But from Stolas' perspective, Blitz does not care about his safety. But on the other hand, Blitz never told Stolas this, but he didn't realize that Stolas can get hurt. Like, in Season 1, Episode 2, Lululand, Blitz took his job very seriously protecting Stolas. Like, he was actively searching out kidnappers. He was doing his job. He was not screwing around and acting like, oh, this is not a big deal, this is not a real big deal, while Stolas was spending the whole time flirting with him. And even though in that episode he didn't see that Stolas didn't need his help, the audience knows that Stolas just wanted Blitz around. He didn't need to be there because he can protect himself from kidnappers. He's more than capable of protecting himself. It's when the episode when Blitz and Moxie get kidnapped by the dorks, that's when Blitz realized that, oh, Stolas is way more powerful than I thought. Because in in Harvest Moon Festival, he still is trying to protect Stolas. When he found out Stryker was there to kill him, he tried everything in his power to protect him, and eventually succeeded, because Stryker did have something that could end Stolas. He had bullets made from heavenly weapons that are meant to kill Hellborn and sinners. And it would have killed Stolas if it did, that's one of the only things that could kill, like, someone that powerful. So, in someone that powerful. Sorry, YouTube. Anyway, so he took his duty very seriously to protect Stolas. But like I said, when the Dorks episode happened and Blitz gets rescued by Stolas, and Blitz gets to see a little bit of Stolas' power, because I don't think Stolas went all out. I think he was holding back. I still think he was holding back. Like, he was just using his powers to terrify them, but not actually cause any real harm. Blitz realized that Stolas is way stronger than he gave him credit for. So he doesn't see Stolas as someone who needs to be protected like he did before. So that's why in season 2, Western Energy, he was just like, he doesn't need my help. Moxie and Millie are fine just going out there and just, untying him and stuff. Like, he probably doesn't even need to be untied. He's probably like, and even Stolas knows he doesn't need help. He could have just got out there at any time. It was him screwing around with an imp and not realizing that he had something that could cause him harm that made him realize, oh no, I'm actually in danger and that I need to do something. But at that point, he was too injured to actually activate his powers. And was he taken by heaven? Oh wait, he might have actually been bound with heavenly rope, and that's why he couldn't break the rope. That could be a reason why he didn't break the rope. I didn't really think about that before, but I'm thinking about it now. He might actually could not have broken the rope because he might have used heavenly rope. I don't know what Camilla Carmine is doing with those. I know that she makes weapons, but she could be making rope. You don't know. Anyway, with the angelic weapons, so anyway, but Blitz didn't think that Stolas needed to be rescued. Like, Stolas can handle his own. So when at the end of the episode and he saw Stolas actually injured and needing help, that made him realize that, oh, he's not invulnerable. He's not invincible. He can get killed. He can get hurt. And that freaked him out, which started him on his whole process of trying to make it right with the people he cared about. I mean, him and Moxie got over their thing, so they're in a good place, and he doesn't really have issues with Millie and Luna, so the only other person in his life that he deemed that he needs to make right is with his sister, and that's what he does. And then fate brings him and Fizz together, get past their problems, and reconnect as well. And so we're seeing that they're both trying to make changes. It's just that Stolas needs to be made aware of other changes that needs to be made before he and Blitz can get back together. But I believe that they're going to get back together. But also, don't worry guys, Stolas is going to get called out, and he's going to see what he did wrong, and he's going to make it right. Okay, because Vivzie has been laying the groundwork. I've been telling you, go back and through the episodes, especially Apology Tour, the beginning fight, you can see that they're laying down the groundwork. And rewatch the trailer, see that they're laying down the groundwork to let everyone know that, hey, Stolas is also to blame in this situation. He is also in the wrong. I know that a lot of people give him a lot more grace because he seems kinder and nicer, but Stolas has done his dirt. Just like Blitz, it's just that Blitz is more unpleasant about it, so it makes people less willing to want to side with Blitz in this situation. But they're both in the wrong. They both hurt each other, and they both need to make it right. And that's all I have to say about it. So, thank y'all for sitting and watching and listening to my point of view about this situation. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.